Now the Hansons and Hiatus podcast with Nate and Alexis.
Happy Friday, fuckers. It is episode 48 of Hansons on Hiatus. I'm your host, Nate, and this is my wife, Alexis.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
And don't forget to support the podcast. Buymeacoffee.com/Hansons on Hiatus. You can buy us some beers there, some virtual beers, and the donations will help support what we're doing. So thank you very much to everyone who has supported, who has donated multiple times, bought us multiple beers. We can't thank you enough.
Thank you so much. And just to be clear, the virtual beers do turn into real beers.
Yes, they do. They're like Bitcoin beers.
Yes.
They're not real on the internet, but then they become real somehow.
Oh, gosh. That'd be great if all of our currency was in beers.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh.
Just make my own money. But also a follow, subscribe, like everything. Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, iTunes, Google Podcasts, all of them. So
whatever platform you use, we're there.
Exactly. So, and full disclosure, again, this is the second episode that we pre-recorded before I left for the Super Bowl. So technically, I am currently in Vegas right now.
Yeah, you're not here.
Yeah.
Hey. Neat.
Oh, God, I hope nothing happens. This is going to be a weird episode.
Very weird. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll
All
be
right.
good.
But one of the issues I had when I was getting ready to go to the Super Bowl was, as we talked about before, I rented an Airbnb for my crew.
Yeah,
and,
for your Super Bowl crew.
And I rented this like months ago, so I had no idea like what dates I was coming in. I didn't know any of the rehearsals or practices or anything like that. So I just kind of booked like January 30th, because that's kind of around the time that we normally have to be there, through the 12th. So that is the day after the Super Bowl.
Because the Super Bowl is the 11th.
Correct.
February 11th.
Yeah, this weekend,
Yes.
this Sunday. Super Bowl Sunday.
Woo.
So I just booked it from, like I said, January 30th to February 12th.
Seems reasonable.
And I did that before because I could still get a refund on up until January 15th. But like a flight, I wasn't sure at the time. So I made sure to get my listing or my place to stay first.
Mm-hmm.
And then I booked my flight afterwards because I wasn't really sure. And it didn't really matter who was playing in the Super Bowl because it's like the Super Bowl is going to happen. So it's not like I had to wait till my team was in or anything like that.
Right. You're like, I'm going regardless who's playing.
Right. So so I booked my flight with points, Spirit points, by the way. And
give us some, something, Spirit. Let's go.
Yeah, right. But Spirit, I think it's not a hub, I don't think, but it's like one of them, like a big city that they do connections in is Vegas.
Oh, wow.
So my flight I booked, and I was trying to, using points. So clearly when you're getting close to the Super Bowl before or after, the flights are super fucking expensive.
Right.
So I booked the 29th through the 14th, February 14th.
Okay.
Because the day after the Super Bowl, like, flights were silly expensive.
I'm sure.
Even the next day after. So I'm technically leaving. What was it, 14th? Wednesday? Yeah. So I'm technically staying for 2 more days. Yeah. And I'll be back for Valentine's Day.
Thank God.
Yeah. But so I'm flying up there the day before my Airbnb starts, and then I'm leaving 2 days after. So I have to figure out these kind of 3 middle days. And I have one buddy that lives in Vegas, and I talked to him. He didn't really have any place for me to stay. He just lives in a small place, kind of like we do. We wouldn't really have any room to have somebody down here.
Yeah. I'd be like, you won't be comfortable.
Yeah. So I'm like trying to find all these different, like, I'm looking at hostels. Then there's like 3 hostels in Vegas. I guess hostels are way bigger in Europe and Mexico and stuff.
Yeah. I'd probably be scared to stay in a hostel in Vegas.
Yeah, I wouldn't care. I'm literally just looking for one night to crash and then 2 other nights, to crash somewhere else.
Right.
And you always hear about all the hotel rooms in Vegas because it's a big tourist destination. So there's tons of hotel casinos, just like rooms, because there's so many people going there. So luckily there's a lot of options, but I'm having a hard time finding a cheap option.
Yeah.
And
lots of options, not cheap.
Yeah. And I just want to say Las Vegas hotel prices are bullshit.
Yeah.
Because when I was looking before I came, I'm trying to find these rooms, and you can get a cheap room. I found a room at a hotel for $9 a night.
What?
But do you know what the total is?
Like $100 or something.
$70 a night,
okay.
which is still it's not super expensive, but from $9 to $70, like, how did this happen?
Yeah, what's going on there?
Every fucking room that I look at, and I don't go to Vegas a lot. I've been like twice in my life,
Right.
so maybe this is old news or whatever.
Well,
but
we know it's expensive.
yeah,
everywhere there.
But a lot of the places will give you free hotel rooms if you're gambling there and stuff like that. So I'm thinking, I can get a cheap room because they just want you there so you can spend more of your money gambling rather than on their hotel rooms.
Right.
So I'm thinking I can get like a super cheap room, and I find them, but they all have fucking resort fees, like $40 to $60 a night for a resort fee.
Even like the shitty cheap hotels?
Totally, yeah.
But they're not a resort. They're
Exactly.
like a little motel
It
hotel.
doesn't matter. It's kind of like in Florida how they have those resort fees or resort taxes, usually if they're on the beach or something, which
tax.
I guess I kind of get because you're like in a resort.
Yeah.
And I guess you could debate that these are resorts in Vegas, but
All
it's
of
not a
them?
resort. Like it's a fucking hotel. It's not my
Yeah.
fault that you have a casino and 5 restaurants and a pool and this. Like that, build that shit into the cost of the room. Don't tax me $40 a fucking day.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when we would go to places, we would drive, and they would have all these fees to park.
Mhm.
It was like, it's $40 a day to park. I'm like, I'm already paying to stay in your hotel.
Yeah,
Why does my car need a hotel room?
Why are you charging me more? It's
Yeah.
the same price. Ugh,
I
that's
just don't get it. So I mean, since we pre-record this, I have no idea where I ended up staying. But
where are you, Nate?
Yeah, but yeah, it's just frustrating. I don't know why they do these resort fees. You're not a resort, or if you are a resort, then just build it into the room. And I was like thinking maybe it's just the cheap ones. Maybe the cheap ones is just how they get a couple extra bucks or whatever.
Yeah.
I looked at the Wynn, $400 a night and a $45 a night resort fee.
Ugh.
And it's like at that point, you're already like, if somebody's paying $400 a night, they got some money.
Yeah.
So what's another $45? Just say the room's $445 a night.
Yeah.
It just pisses me off more to see this resort fee.
Mm-hmm.
And I was reading about it to see, what the deal with it is. And one website was saying you can decline it and say, no, I'm not paying that.
Oh.
I guess legally it's considered deception in Vegas or in Nevada because they tell you what your price is, like out the door, like this is your price, including fees and taxes. And then when you get there, that's when they charge you the fees. And so like this website's saying it's illegal. I read another one that says you might be able to argue that and you could get lucky and get it back, but you also risk them just saying, no, we're canceling your reservation.
And
then.
I'm sure that happens more than they're like, okay, we won't charge you $45. They're like, get out because the next idiot will.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, fuck Vegas hotels. That's stupid.
That sucks. It's like that stuff's so annoying. Just, like you're saying, say the total price, especially if it's a motel or a hotel, like a Red Roof Inn. I'm paying an extra $45 resort fee for what? Your pool that doesn't work or like my scratchy towels?
Yeah, and exactly. And I only found like 3 that didn't have resort fees, and it was like 2 travel lodges, but they're not like, I didn't think that they were close or they were still. It actually ended up being just the same price. Like I found one resort or one hotel, and it was like $9-10, and then it ended up being like $60 for the night with the resort fee and everything. And then I looked at the travel lodge, and it was no resort fee, but the room was $60 a night. So it's like it comes out to the same thing, and they know that.
That
So
sucks.
yeah, super fucking frustrating.
Didn't we get rid of those? Like, didn't the president or whoever say like we're gonna get rid of these, like the Airbnb fees? Everything needs to be up front. The other like the airlines and this and that. Why is there so much bullshit fees, and why has it gone this long to where people are like, no more? Like, why am I paying $300 for a flight and then an extra $200 in fees, or getting like usually we get cheap flights, $50 or less, and then it's another $50-$60 in fees.
And then they word it weird, like the pet fee and the pet.
Yeah.
My favorite is the non-refundable pet deposit.
Yeah.
That's not what a deposit is.
No.
You get a deposit back. You're charging a pet fee if it's non-refundable.
And like
That's
they're
dumb.
telling us, regardless if your pet does something or doesn't do anything, we're still keeping your money. So my good, sweet little puggy boy is sitting there all weekend with his brother not doing anything, and we still have to pay, $40-$50 because other dogs don't know how to behave.
Exactly. Yeah, dicks. And then there's kids drawn on the walls, and there's not a kid fee. Like, come on.
Don't get me started on the kiddos.
Yeah, but
well,
anyway,
that sucks. I hope you figured it out.
I do too.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, I know. I mean, there's things I could do. You know, I could, I don't know, go sleep in a hotel lobby or something. But I want to be like kind of comfortable.
Yeah.
But
Especially
also
your
not.
first couple of days.
I don't want to pay a couple $100 more because I'm paying like $250 splitting this Airbnb. If I'm buying 3 hotel rooms at $50 to $70, I'm paying the same amount for 3 nights that I'm paying for 2 weeks almost.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to be economical, but also not super uncomfortable, but also not staying at something expensive.
Right.
So
You'll figure it out. Yeah. You'll find something.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up something else we were talking about a couple weeks ago. Do you remember why you started talking about this? You asked me if I'd ever been like caught by my parents. Like in the act, like whether high school or college or whatever.
Yeah, in the act. Well, your parents are here, as we've discussed before, and we are in a studio apartment.
Oh, right.
And they are right next door to us. And normally we keep our door unlocked all day, but sometimes your mom or dad will just bust in the door.
Yeah.
Like, they're not doing anything malicious. They're just like, hey, we know you're home. We can hear you, or we've talked and whatever. And they'll just come on in. And I'm so afraid that I'm going to be naked one day, like changing into my swimsuit, and your mom or dad's going to come walk in, and then there we go. That's going to be so embarrassing. Not that, they're parents.
Yeah.
They've seen it all, but I'm 40. I don't need you seeing my boobs and my butt and whatever. So that's why we got talking. I'm like, what if?
Yeah, or you were like, have you ever,
Yeah.
has that ever happened or whatever?
Has your mom ever barged in on you doing?
And being that it is Valentine's Day coming up next week, that'd be funny to see if we remember any stories of that happening or something similar. And I have 2. One happened. Yeah. One happened when I was in high school. And I think I've told you before, I've always had like a good group of girlfriends, like friends that are or girls that are friends.
Yeah. You do.
And I was at this one friend's house in high school, and her parents were kind of like, not the party parents, but they were cool with having people over.
Cool ones.
Yeah, maybe drinking a little bit, but it was more just like having a bunch of people over and not like watching them like a hawk or whatever. So we would just like play music off a LimeWire, and like dance in the fucking living room or whatever.
Yeah, hang out.
But I remember one of these like evenings, one of the other friends of my friend, like I kind of like had a crush on or something. And she the same. So we ended up going into my friend's bedroom.
Uh-oh.
And so we're in there in the act, and I'm like on my like I have my hands up or whatever, I guess. I don't know what position that would be. I guess. And like just in the act, and all of a sudden in my ear I hear this guy go, "I hope you're using protection."
Oh my God.
And her stepdad was in the room, and I mean, it wasn't his daughter. It was like a friend, his stepdaughter's friend.
Oh,
and he had came in the room. We didn't hear him apparently. And he was like literally right next to me and said it to my ear.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, I guess it was better than getting in trouble, but.
Yeah, I get it. But a little like, hey guys, knock it off, and slamming the door or something, or open, close, not like walking up on 2 teenagers doing it.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, but
that gives me goosebumps.
Oh, I know. It was me too. It fucking freaked me out because we just like froze, and I just remember I go, "That might be a good time to stop." And she goes, "Yeah,
yeah, I think we're done here.
Yeah.
Nice knowing you."
Yeah, and then
I'm gonna whisper that to you next time. I hope you're using protection.
Oh my God,
that's hilarious.
Or actually, I'll go to you. Do you have a story?
I have a couple too. I think one, like in high school, I remember I would always sneak over to my boyfriend's house at the time in high school, and he would do the same. He'd sneak over to my house, and his parents were more of like the cool parents. Same thing,
right?
Like, they don't mind. They're not stupid. They know we're having a drink or smoke or
they're maybe
whatever.
not buying you the alcohol, but they're like kind of look the other way a little bit,
right? And they're the parents like, we'd rather you be here,
right?
With us if something happens, this and that. So I snuck over one night. I remember sleeping over. I had just stayed over. Probably told my parents I was at a girlfriend's house and stayed over. And then in the morning, we're teenagers. We're doing it again or whatever. And his mom, all we hear like 2 seconds, like a. And then she came in and was like pissed at him, like, you got to get up today. We got things to do. Get the fuck up, blah, blah, blah. And I'm there and he's there in the act. She's like, Alexis, your parents are going to fucking kill me. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh,
I'm
no.
just like, ah! Like, it was so embarrassing. Like, instant sweat. You're just like, ah.
Oh my God. Did she not realize you were there at all, or did she know you stayed over and just caught you doing
She
the
didn't
thing?
know I was there at all. Like, we could have asked, like, hey,
Right.
she's coming over. I think he was in trouble at the time, like probably grounded for some reason. But he was on the ground floor in the back of their like townhouse, or it was like an apartment kind of townhouse. So why would you give a teenage boy like easy access to a window to like come and go as you please, or have anyone come and go as they please? So
Yeah.
she was pissed I wasn't allowed over there for a while. And then, of course, my parents hated him. So,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
That was fun.
You told me another story. Do you want to tell that one? Or
I can
not?
tell that. I'm sure
Okay.
you have a better one.
I have one that's similar, so I didn't want to take your thunder
Oh,
away. So
okay.
tell your story, and
yeah,
I'll
I
get to
wasn't
mine.
sure which ones you were going to
Yeah.
tell. So, I guess I was probably in middle school. I still lived in Pittsburgh.
So how old are you at this time?
I don't know. How
Like
old
14
are you in
or
middle school?
something?
Yeah, probably. Not,
13, 14?
yeah.
You weren't like in high school yet.
No, not in high
So
school.
maybe, 12, 13, 14.
Probably around there. So I was, my brothers are younger than me. They're 10 years younger than me. And I would babysit them a lot. So eventually I guess gained my parents' trust to where I can have a friend over also to help me babysit. And I had one of my girlfriends over. We decided for some reason, put my brothers to bed early. They're babies.
Yeah.
So put them to bed. And
Naturally, you leave babies with a 12-year-old.
I know, right? Like,
it was the 90s.
as
it was
soon
cool.
as they were born, they were like, "These are your children." No, I'm kidding. But that's probably why I have like permanent birth control in my head from raising my brothers,
Yeah.
wiping their butts and diapers and things.
Yeah, that should be like a process that all kids have to go through to, little birth control there.
Yeah, take care of your younger siblings. You're like, no, thanks. Jeez, never mind. But anyway, so they go to bed, and then I don't remember if we're like on the phone or they were outside, but we had some neighborhood friends, girls and guys, and the guys were around, obviously. So talking to them on the phone, invite them over. Hey, you want to come watch a movie? My parents bought all these snacks. We got pizza and stuff. Like, my parents were like, get all the things so you're here and happy.
Right.
So invite them over to hang out. And my parents were at like a dinner and an event. They were like, for my dad's work, they were supposed to be there for a while. Next thing I know, like halfway through the movie, the garage starts going up. And I look out the window and I see my parents' Explorer like coming down the driveway. I could see the car. I could see the driveway. And I'm just like, get out. You guys have to get out. Like, we got to clean up everything. Get the fuck out. And common sense would say, go out the back door.
Right.
Right? No, I don't know. We've never done this before. Never snuck in boys before. Knew it was wrong, but didn't think anything of it. They go out the front door. And two go out the front door, and one I thought went out the back door. And ours is like a 3-story house, so they're coming in the garage and they have to go upstairs. So we have a few minutes before my parents get to the main level of the house to murder me.
Right.
So I'm like, the two run out front, and I look out to make sure they go. And what do I see? My dad walk down to the edge of the driveway to go get the mail. And then coming back, and he's looking at the mail, and he looks up and sees boys run out of the front door and out. And I'm just like, this is it. This is my death. This is all. Comes in the house, what the fuck, this and that, Alexis, blah, 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 blah. Didn't realize that one of the boys, I don't remember if I said or my friend said, like, get upstairs. But once I realized the third boy did not leave. He was too scared or wanted to stay. I don't know what his problem was, but he stayed. So I'm like, get the fuck upstairs before my dad will literally murder you. He's going to murder you. Go upstairs. We get yelled at. My mom and dad were like, we're not going to call my friend's parents yet because it's late. We'll talk to your parents tomorrow. Get upstairs, go to bed. So we go upstairs, and the third boy is in my closet. We put him in there to like, shut up, whatever. My parents are going to go to sleep. And then finally, once everything cools down, he comes out, and I have a big, this is how like 80s, 90s, I had a big king-size waterbed. This was the 90s. My parents loved waterbeds. They had one too. And
yeah, I was like, that's not even the 90s. That's like the 70s or something.
Right? It's so expensive. They had a
80s.
waterbed, and I remember having a small one, and now I had a big one, a king-size waterbed. Who gets like a 13-year-old?
That's why all your backs hurt too.
Right? Maybe that's why I'm so limber.
Yeah.
But so he sleeps over, and then the only place to sleep is in my bed. So literally my girlfriend, me, and this boy are sleeping in my bed, and my parents are in the room next door. Like there's just a wall dividing us.
Oh my
like
God.
in
this
their
kid's
room.
parents weren't like, where is my 12 and 13-year-old
I don't
or 13-year-old?
know. You know, like they didn't go to our school, I remember, but they were like the hot boys in the neighborhood.
Right.
They had like the BMX bikes.
But we
and
didn't
all
have
that
like
kind of
cell
shit.
phone, or if we did have cell phones at the time, they were like Nokias, and I don't know if like it wasn't like he could text his parents, "Hey, I'm staying over at blah blah blah's house" or whatever.
Maybe he told the other guys like just lie or something, or say I'm sleeping at your house.
Maybe
I don't know. I don't remember. Or didn't get the details at the time. I was worried about being murdered by my father.
Yeah.
So like naturally, you know, there's boy and a girl together. I remember we start making out. And we're making out in my bed, and my girlfriend's right next to me, but she like went to bed. She was like, "This is ridiculous.
Dear
I'm in
penthouse.
trouble." I know. She rolls over, goes to bed. We start making out, and we're young, so we're not like doing anything else. We're like literally making out for an hour or something, like kissing and whatever. Next day at school, this bitch tells everybody, all my friends, that not only did I have boys over and I wasn't allowed, I snuck one into my room and we had sex. She told everybody in like middle school that I had sex with this person. I did not.
Didn't she? Oh my God. Didn't she say that it was with all the guys too or something? Or the other three or something?
I think like the story changed.
Right.
And I just remember being like.
It's always girls' friends that like fuck their friends over for some reason.
And we were like good friends. Like she lived close. I remember us being like summer buddies. Like we were thick as thieves, always together. She was a good enough friend. My parents were like, yes, she's a good friend. We know her. She can come over and help babysit our infant children.
Oh my God.
It was extreme. But a fun twist to the story. I don't know if I said to you, but a few years later, well, not a few years later, like I was in college in Florida. She reached out to me on Facebook. She found me and kind of like reconnected. I remembered. I'm like, this bitch, I'm not talking to this girl. Like, screw you.
Yeah.
You screwed up my middle school pretty much. She apologized. She said, I remember what I did. I don't know why I did it. I think I was jealous or confused or both or all of the above.
Probably. She was the third wheel while you guys were getting hot and heavy in the waterbed. And she's like, who am I? Chopped liver over here?
It's like, what do you want me to do? If it was the other way around, I'm sure she would have done it too. So
yeah.
But she apologized. She was like, I'm so sorry. That was probably so traumatic for you. I'm like, it was. I still remember it to this day.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrible.
Oh my God. Yeah, like girls will like kill themselves over that. You know, it's like it could have been a lot worse.
I don't know why
you get
girls
bullied.
feel the need to be like, oh, she's a slut. She was making out with boys, but you're literally interested in boys and making out with boys and probably doing the same thing or whatever. It's like, oh, I'm a slut because I snuck boys in. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's super weird.
Yeah.
But it does seem like it's always like the girl's friend. It's not like, I mean, it does happen, but it's not always like their enemies that start these rumors. It's like your friends.
Right.
Because they want to tell the story and then they like embellish it or tell it wrong or they'll ask, oh, did they like have sex? Yeah, totally. You know, like, and then they just roll with it. But
I remember
guess
other
that's nice.
girlfriends asking me like, that can't, like, you? And I was like, that was not me.
Yeah.
I think I probably was like, nothing happened, nothing at all. Are you kidding me? Like, in fear my teacher would hear and like tell my mom or something. Oh my God.
Well, I guess it's nice that she apologized at least, even though it doesn't really change anything. At least it's probably to help her more than you. It's just her getting her guilty conscience off her chest.
It's like a decade later.
Yeah,
Jeez,
right. Decade too late.
I know.
God.
Jeez.
No, so I had one that was a good story.
Still makes me sweat.
Yeah. I had one kind of similar where this is my girlfriend in high school and her best friend, her best friend's sister was older. Like when we were in high school, she was like in her 30s or something. And she was either married or dating somebody or what. I think she was married and they were out of town. So she was having her sister, you know, my girlfriend's friend, watch their house while they were gone for the night or the weekend or something.
Yeah.
So she's like, invites her friend over, which is my girlfriend. And then they say, oh, do you want to come over? Kind of same thing. Watch movie, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was planning on staying the night with my girlfriend at her house. And her friend was going to sleep in, you know, one of the other bedrooms. And we were staying in the guest room. And I think we were all in there just like hanging out and talking. And we hear the garage door open.
Oh, that That same garage door.
Yeah.
You hear it.
80s and 90s kids know that garage door.
You know, I don't care if you're in the furthest spot of the house, furthest away from the garage door, you hear it. You hear those tracks move in. You're like, fuck.
Yeah. So she's like, fuck. And runs downstairs. And I like, we were doing the same thing, like making out or whatever. So I have like my shirt off. I had like pants and stuff on or everything. But I was like, fuck, where do I go? Closet. You know, so I go in the closet. I'm in there with my shirt off, holding on to it. I'm like, I'm probably 16 maybe at the time.
Okay.
And
still scary.
Turn the lights off. And then all of a sudden I see, like under the closet door, I see the lights come on.
Oh no.
And so I'm like, fuck, and I'm just being really quiet. And all of a sudden, the sister that owns the house opens the closet door, and I'm in there with my shirt off, and I'm like, hi. And I just run by her.
No.
I run down the stairs. While I'm running down the stairs, her boyfriend or husband or whatever is coming like around the corner through the kitchen. Doesn't know what's going on really at the time.
Find out running around.
He's an ex-con, just got out of jail like a couple weeks ago.
What?
And so I'm coming down the stairs, and I'm just doing that brrr, when you're like just sliding on your socks down the stairs. Fling open their front door, and I bolt out the front door, and I just fucking take off. And I think I walked home or something. But luckily, the ex-con did not know what was happening before.
Yes.
Like he didn't come after me before he realized what was happening.
What did he go to jail for?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, he might be back in there. Who knows? He's like killing 12-year-olds.
That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Did you get your shirt and like your shoes, or were you
I had my shirt with me.
naked?
I might have been wearing my shoes, might have not. I might have been sandals on. I think I was in high school, so
Probably
I had a car at the time. So I think what I did, because I used to sneak into the same girlfriend's house when her parents were home, and I would like park my car like around the block, and then I'd like walk through the backyard, and she'd let me in. We go in the basement and watch a movie. It was like the most intense. Like, I don't know why we like subjected ourselves to this like stress, but it was so stressful. And I remember having to hide in the bathroom at her house another time. We weren't doing anything, and her parents eventually like went back to bed. But I was like, why? Well, this is not worth the risk.
Yeah, worth hanging out. And we all did it, and it was like, my parents were very strict, very, very strict in middle school and high school. So I don't know what I was thinking to sneak out or sneak in. Like, I guess you're like, oh, okay, they're not really going to kill me. I was always afraid I was really going to be killed. So why was I doing those things too? I don't know, just to like push the limits and like see if you can get away with it.
It's just like anything. Like, that's why kids usually start to drink or sneak out or whatever. It's anytime when you get to that age where you realize that you're like, the rules and stuff, and you're like, oh, I can break these rules. I can bend these rules. You're like,
what are you gonna do?
You're kind of testing, testing the waters to see what you can do. And I think it's a little bit of the rush too. You're kind of like an adrenaline junkie when you're a kid, because you're not like drinking or smoking or whatever usually. But,
true. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gives me no.
Yeah. I know.
It's like all just to hang out. Like, you just had to see that friend or that boyfriend or girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like, you couldn't wait.
And it wouldn't even, I mean, maybe in like high school or later, it's like to see if you can get laid or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're in middle school, it's really just to like see if you can kiss them or something. So it's like you're risking all this to just kiss somebody. I'm like, man, like if we knew what we knew now, like you're going to get kissed later, bro. It's not worth almost dying for.
You can go get kissed anywhere.
Yeah.
You don't have to sneak into your dad's basement.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, definitely stressful.
Yes. So
but
I'm hoping, kind of full circle, hoping none of that happens with your parents.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it is Valentine's Day this coming Wednesday. So I will be back. I think I get back like mid-afternoon, like 2 or 3.
Okay, great.
And we kind of talked about, I just brought it up to my parents, and they didn't really actually respond. But I said, well, maybe we just get a dinner reservation and us 4 go to dinner or something. What do people do for Valentine's Day? I know like some people are gift people. Some people are, let's just go to dinner or whatever. But that's kind of what you do, right? As an adult.
Right.
You just kind of go out to eat.
I think you go out to eat, or like maybe some people do dinner and a movie, or just a movie, or whatever's like special to the couple, maybe, or something you don't normally do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because I'll put another message on the Spotify, and so let me know what everybody else is planning on Valentine's Day, because I don't really know what else to do, because we usually don't make a giant deal about Valentine's Day, because we do birthdays and anniversaries,
Right.
like especially anniversary. And I didn't realize. I mean, I did realize like we make a bigger deal about our anniversary than most because that's kind of we always try to plan a trip or something like that just to celebrate our anniversary. So
our love. Celebrate our love.
but we had a couple friend and they're in their mid 50s, and we went to hang out with them. They actually live or have a place here, and we went to hang out with them a couple weeks ago with my parents, and we were out having a drink, and they're like, "Oh yeah, today's our anniversary," and in my head I'm like,
what?
You didn't tell us this? And is this what you were planning on doing on your anniversary? Hanging out with us?
Hanging out with us, drink a beer?
So, and I was like, oh, they're a little bit older. Maybe that's what you do. You just don't make a big a deal about it as you used to. But they've only been married for 6 years.
Yeah.
They got it's like a second marriage or whatever. So
I think they're like, we're in Mexico for our anniversary. We don't care what we're doing.
but you think
We're
they still would
excited.
want to like just go to dinner themselves or
Yeah.
something? So I don't know. I like making a big deal about the anniversary and like birthday.
Yeah.
Like
I think Valentine's Day, maybe most people think it's like a little overrated now, especially like when it's a weekday and you have to work or go to school the next day. We would never go out on a weekday. If it was a
Yeah.
weekend, maybe if something's going on, something special, but it's usually just a reason for restaurants and whoever to have some silly love special, and it's like twice the price as their normal dinner. So we would always like cook at home and kind of do little gifts or something with the dogs or whatever. But I feel like a lot of people might be feeling that this year. Like it's overpriced, it's over, talked about, like,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah. No, that's true. Well,
What are we going to do?
I don't know. I guess well, would you rather go to like a dinner with my parents or just go to dinner with you and I?
I mean, I don't mind if they're here. They might want to go to dinner by themselves.
Sure.
Maybe they want to go have a little love dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a restaurant here called Alush, and it's, I believe that's what it is. And it's in a dry cenote. It's in a cave, and it's a restaurant in a cave. And we've never gone there. Even though I've heard the food is like okay, but the atmosphere is like the best part of it.
You're like in a cenote.
Yeah. So, that might be a thing we could do. We've never been, and I don't know if they've ever been like that, or maybe they've been once. I don't know. Maybe we'll ask them.
Yeah,
see what they
want
want to do.
out. And it probably depends how tired you're going to be. I know you come back in the afternoon, but that's 2 weeks of Super Bowling in Vegas and doing all that stuff, and then flying and busing home from the airport. So you might be like, I'm so tired.
True.
Let's do it
I
this
could
weekend.
go to dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Well, before we get out of here, I wanted to talk about one other story, and this happened to us here in Mexico a couple weeks ago. We were at this bar called Old School, and it's like an after-hours club. So it's all the other bars that close. I think this was like it's open between like 2 and 3, or like later than everything else. So it goes until 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And
it's fun.
Yeah. Oh, it was great. We were outside watching this band, fantastic band, really good rock music. Sounded just like every cover song that they were doing, basically.
Yeah. They have some really good bands there, and like EDM DJs too, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's a good place.
So it's an outdoor patio kind of area, and there's a railing or kind of like a ledge. You can see the music from the street and everything. Yeah. And I look over, and there's this guy, and he's kind of like, he's standing outside. He's not drinking a beer or inside or doing anything in the bar.
Yeah.
He's not even outside to smoke a cigarette. He's just listening to the music, and he's bobbing his head a little bit. And then I look a couple minutes later, and he's kind of doing something similar, getting a little more agitated, just kind of like dancing, just having a great time. And then we look again, and this dude is going full Burning Man. I'm on fucking acid, because he's just beating on the railing and just fucking like swinging his arms around.
Rock it out.
Yeah, it's like
he's in a mosh pit or something. He's just like headbanging, all sorts of things, jumping around. Everyone looked over. It was like, what the?
Yeah, he was just losing it. But
he was having a great time.
Oh yeah, totally. And I was like, even when we were walking away, I like held up my camera and looked over my shoulder, and the dude was still just fucking going crazy. Kind of like there's that meme video of that guy from like years ago, and he looks like he's eating his own tongue, and he's on like some kind of weird acid or something. He's like,
I haven't seen that one yet. But it was a good night. It was good fun.
Yeah, it was crazy. But all right, well, before we get out of here, don't forget to support the podcast. buymeacoffee.com/Hansons on hiatus. Oh, I want to tell a story about that. I was going through an old SD card and I found some photos that I had from like probably like early 2000s.
Oh, wow.
And one of them was from my buddy from high school, his little sister, and his dad had passed away when he was younger. And his little sister, who only knew her dad for, until her like kind of probably about elementary years. She and he passed away then, so she had a hard time with his death because she was younger and everything. And I found a picture of her dad and her from like 15 years ago or something. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Yeah, so I sent it to her and I was like, I don't know like how I have this photo or if you have it or whatever, but I just wanted to make sure I give it to you, just for memories for your dad.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh my God, I've never seen that. I've never seen this photo before.
That's so great.
It was really cool. But then I saw she donated 2 beers to our Hansons on Hiatus. So
thank you so much.
Yeah. Her name's Jenna. So thank you, Jenna. Really appreciate it. And I'm glad I could get you that photo because
I'm so glad you keep all your You have way more to go through too, like chips and drives and computers.
Yeah, I'm going to start posting some old videos and stuff because I found a lot of old things and it's fun to look at the old. Even though they're not the greatest quality anymore compared to now, but
that's what makes it great, and the nostalgia. And who knows, you might have been having a bad day, Jenna, and I hope that makes you happy.
Yeah,
that
totally.
would make me happy.
Definitely,
that's great.
Yeah, really cool moment.
Thank
But
you so much.
buymeacoffee.com/Hansons on Hiatus. Also support the podcast on Spotify, YouTube, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Instagram @Hansons on Hiatus. Hope you have a great and safe rest of your weekend. I will be back for a new episode next week with all stories about the Super Bowl and everything. So make sure you tune into that. But have a great weekend and happy Friday, fuckers.
Happy Friday, fuckies.
That's it. Thanks for listening. Goodbye for now. Bye.